The Winter Olympics, where the best of the best compete on a global stage. But back in the 1920s, the term best was used a bit more loosely, and the first Winter Olympics introduced several competitors to historic ass-kickings that hardly seem believable today. Winter. It's cold, dark, and depressing, not entirely unlike the empty, perpetual day-night cycle that comprises my life. But since 1924, the Winter Olympics have given us a reason to appreciate snow and ice, all in the name of competitive sport. This fucking joke is never gonna land. In 1896, the world was introduced to the modern form of the Summer Olympic Games, and in 1921, IOC President Pierre de Coubertin decided to expand the Olympiad to the winter months. There was only one problem. Scandinavians already had a winter sport competition, the Nordic Games, and out of fear of losing their own competition, they tried to block the Olympics' move. De Coubertin assured the Scandinavian people that this wouldn't be an official Olympics, merely an international week of winter sport. It was enough to quell any worries, and the Winter Games were set to take place in Chamonix, France in 1924. It was a huge success. 258 athletes from 16 nations competed in 16 events across 6 sports. The Winter Olympics have been a quadrennial staple ever since. There was, however, one fatality, the Nordic Games, which held one last event in 1926 before nestling itself away into the history books. Buried in the grave plot next to the Nordic Games was the tattered remains of the hopes and dreams of those hockey players not representing Canada. Did I mention the competitive landscape wasn't exactly level? The award for the team most prepared to crush their opponents goes to the Canadian hockey team, who turned in perhaps the most dominant performance in Winter Olympic history. The Toronto Granites, Canada's best amateur team, wasn't there to f*** around. Their star player was Harry Watson, a World War I flying ace who was nicknamed Moose for being the largest player on the ice. But he wasn't just big, he was also a deft puck handler and incredibly fast. Imagine Alex Ovechkin, but if everyone else on the ice was small and weak. Watson scored 36 goals in the tournament, including an untouchable Olympic record of 13 goals in one 45-minute game against Switzerland. Heading into the gold medal game against the US, Canada had outscored their opponents 104-2. The US was a different story though, putting up a real nail-biter that saw Canada take gold 6-1. After the Olympics, Watson, a staunch amateur, turned down several lucrative contracts to play in the NHL, even though several of his teammates happily left to play professionally. Moose didn't want his athletic achievements tainted by money. Watson was inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame in 1962, 5 years after his death, which means he never got anything from hockey besides that gold medal, a sense of self-worth, and pride in himself for sticking to his convictions. What a fucking idiot. If you like this, hit subscribe, watch the other ones, share this one, send it to yourself. I don't care, just send it someplace. Switzerland. Switzerland. I lose the ability to say certain words when I'm on camera.
Switz.
Switz.
Erland.
Erland.